Isn't it absolutely beautiful?
There are
You know?
definitely worse places to spend your time.
I'm really glad that we trekked how many kilometres to get here? I feel like I'm all hot and sweaty, but I felt like it was well worth coming.
Oh.
Absolutely.
So no, thank you. And I know we've known each other for a little while, both in a group context and more recently one-to-one. Wondering if you could tell the world a little bit about your experience of working with me in those contexts.
Well, I think it was interesting when I first met you, in that group context, and we were in an official corporate building and in a room with about 20 other people. And what amazed me was that you really stood out in that room for the very fact of the energy that you brought to the room. Throughout my career, people have always said to me, God, you always bring the energy, you always bring the energy, which actually I think puts pressure on you as a person when you're in that scenario, and it's what's expected of you, but you do it quite naturally. And it didn't feel ever that it was forced. You do it very authentically. And I think that it comes over in the way that you interacted with us in that room. And I think you got to know you really, really quickly, really quite deeply for that very reason.
So kind, thank you. And I just remember it was such a joyful time facilitating that group with you in it.
I think it was always good, but when as a facilitator, when you were facilitating it and we were participating, none of us knew what to expect. There were some really smart, driven people in that room. Every session that we had with that group, I came out having learned something about myself, but also about the other people in the room. And nobody ever felt they got left behind. Which I think when you're in a group coaching environment like that, it's very easy for some people to sit back and not be engaged. But you didn't let anybody do that, and I think you did it in a really gentle way where nobody felt that they were under pressure, and I think that was really good.
And I know more recently you've decided to come and do some work with me here, which is beautiful in this spot. This will be our spot now. And online as well. So how have you found the coaching experience?
I think when you choose somebody to help you, to coach you, it is a very personal thing. And I think you need to be able to make a really deep, strong bond with that person, whatever that looks like for you, so you feel comfortable. And I think given that we have done things in a group, we've done things online, at one-to-one and group online, and also in person, and then also in this spectacular environment. If I look at those 5 options and go, which one would I choose? I think I like all of them for very different reasons. And I think one-to-one coaching, it just gives you something that much more. And I think I was ready to do one-to-one coaching because of my experiences before, where I was starting to understand there was some learnings and there's some experiences that I wanted to explore more, and to do that really required that kind of one-to-one. And I think doing it online one-to-one is great because it allows you to keep things going, but I don't think anything beats here. I mean, look at this place, it's absolutely stunning. And you don't have to, the one thing that I find, this frees me up and I feel empowered when I'm sitting here. And it's, you feel so, it's the only way I can't verbalise it, it just feels like that.
Amazing. So what have you got personally out of coaching so far?
So I've learnt a lot about not feeling isolated, not feeling that there isn't other people out there who've experienced and are experiencing what I experienced. You have asked me questions at time that have been really tough, and I've had to really think about, okay, what does that really mean? And explore in my mind, not my immediate thought, but really what is it that you're asking me, and dig down to find what I think is the real answer. And and that, as a consequence of that, I feel that I've learned more about my own truth. Really what is me, and also to start to be so much more self-assured about my truth, and then look at the rest of the world in a different light for that reason.
That's beautiful. Thank you for trusting me with that work.
Very welcome. Thank you for helping me. You don't do anything by halves. I think you throw yourself into something. You know, we talked before about the questionnaire that you give to people to do before you start sessions, and you could fill that questionnaire in really quickly if you chose to. But I spent quite a lot of time on each question, and I think that because I knew you, and I thought, no, she's asking what appears to be a simple question, but there's a lot that you could pack into the response to the simple question. And I think you make that same level of effort. Yeah, and so therefore it's like, I feel all the work I do, you do as much work, if not more, than I do. And so, you know, it's definitely, you feel like you're both, you know, getting something out of it.
Point is you get out what you put into these things. Yeah. And it's, I think, easy to go into a coaching scenario and phone it in a little bit sometimes to give the easy answers.
I think you're absolutely right. When you're doing proper coaching and you want to evolve yourself, you have to be true to yourself and you have to put in it what you want to put in, and you'll get out of it then what you need to get out of it.
Wonderful, thank you. And finally, how's your relationship with nature now?
Well, I live in the back end of nowhere. We don't have delivery, we don't have anything like that. So, and
overrated.
You know, or taxis even. And we have walks like this just outside the back of our house, and I hardly ever used to go out. But now I'm making so much more effort because this really energizes me, and it's a really great place to walk and have that sort of like just sense of yourself and really belonging to something, but also then feeling sort of like a calmness and I think a clarity of thinking that you don't get anywhere else because of the quietness here, the gentle bird song, you know, and there's always something to look at, but it's not overwhelming. And I think I find that really, really positive experience and really positive environment to wander around in.
And what impacts that had on your business?
I would say I feel now that I feel very purposeful. I feel very focused on where I want to go. And I feel like I'm going to do the things that I want to do, not the things I feel that I should do. And I think it always now, whenever I'm looking at something, I'm always thinking, now then, what would Emma say?
You know I love a should and a want.
Exactly. It's like, should I do it? Do I want to do it? And honestly, that's it now. It's almost like in the back of my head. Should I do it? Am I doing it for the right reason? Do I really want to do this? And actually having that courage to go, you know what? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to do it because someone else said I should do it, or I feel like do it. It's like I need to really want to do it. So that's the difference, I think. And I feel then that from my perspective, I feel, say, a lot more focused and more calm, but in a more energised way.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Lynne.